Premier and Minister for Finance, Honorable Ralph O'Neill, says the Auditor General's report for the year 2008, 2009, and 2010 are not yet available for presentation to the House of Assembly, but he presented figures on expenditures and revenue that show over expenditures for the past 3 years. In response to a question posed by Leader of the Opposition, Dr. Orlando Smith, the Finance Minister said the Ministry of Finance is yet to provide comments on the 2008 report, which was received in January of this year, and he is yet to receive the reports for 2009 and 2010.
Mr. Speaker, the Auditor General's report for 2008, 2009, and 2010 are unavailable for presentation to the House of Assembly. In respect to the report for 2008, it was received by the Ministry of Finance on the 24th of January of this year, 2011. And the Ministry of Finance has yet to provide comments on this report so that it may be presented to the Cabinet and eventually the House of Assembly. In respect to the reports for 2009, 2010, the Minister of Finance has not yet received those reports.
The Leader of the Opposition, Dr. Orlando Smith, also asked the Finance Minister to tell the House the revenues and expenditures for the respective years, inclusive of those for capital and recurrent expenditure. According to the Premier, for 2008, government's total revenue was $279.3 million and total expenditure was $342.2 million. In 2009, the total revenue was $268.7 million and the total expenditure $324.7 million. In 2010, total revenue was $272.9 million and total expenditure was $301.9 million. This shows more spending than money collected over the past 3 years: $62.9 million in 2008, $56 million in 2009, and $29 million in 2010. Dr. Smith further questioned the Premier and Minister of Finance about the $27.8 million that government owed to contractors and creditors, figures the Premier presented in the House for the period ending May 31, 2011. The Leader of the Opposition asked the Premier if the outstanding debt has been paid, but the Premier suggested that the figure be referred to as potential commitments to creditors, as it includes monthly commitments for salaries and rent.
To address the Leader of the Opposition's question specifically, however, Mr. Speaker, I would like to report that if we exclude our monthly commitments, such as rent and salaries, we have a value on those commitments of some $28.22 million. Regular monthly commitments amount for close to $9.5 million. As I understand this, Mr. Speaker, is that we have to take into account things like rent and salaries and show these commitments in area account that we may have. And therefore we have to make provision for them so that they would not be overlooked, and you want to give people the correct picture. You don't want to make people believe you don't have commitments. But you do have monthly commitments, salaries, pensions, etc., rent. So we have to, Mr. Speaker, make sure that they are included in our monthly or 6 monthly, whatever period account.
Honorable Premier, then do I understand that if the monthly, if what is owed to rent, etc., is extracted, which you gave a figure of $9.5 million, what was owing to other contractors and creditors was $19 million. So has this been paid?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, that may be so because the contract may not have been completed. But provision is made for when it is completed, that the money could be there to pay them.
Premier O'Neill there responding to questions on the Virgin Islands government finances by the Leader of the Opposition, Dr. Smith, in the House of Assembly meeting on Tuesday, August 30th, 2011.